Last video, I showed you guys the save editing software for this Pokemon fan game, POKEROGUE, but unfortunately, and to my surprise, a series of events that transpired made using this POKEROGUE save editor a convoluted nightmare. Shortly after I uploaded that video, there was a shift in developers of this software. You know, the original developer just disappeared, and a new one kind of stepped up. That was already an issue. The software was not working for a little while during that period. But to add insult to injury, about 3 days ago, the developers of POKEROGUE updated their game and completely reworked how the API and the network and all of the data functions, making none of the previous versions of the save editor work with the current version of POKEROGUE. But fortunately, there's a brand new version of this POKEROGUE save editing software that takes into account POKEROGUE's latest update, and everything now works really well, and it's all streamlined to a pretty simple process. The save editor that you can give yourself egg tits? So today I'm going to show you how to use this software to give yourself infinite egg vouchers, to modify all your starter Pokemon. You can make your entire Pokedex of starters shiny, you can make any given starter shiny, you can do a lot of stuff, and you can edit pretty much all the details on any run that you currently have going.
Stop! He's already dead!
So without further ado, let's get into it. So step one, as always, is going to be going to the link in the description, and this will bring you to a GitHub page called Online Rogue Editor. Now if you scroll down on the right here, you'll see a little tab that says Releases, and you're going to click on this V0.1.0 button.
Yo, I'm editing. So there was already another update to the save editor that came out a few hours ago, and there's a bunch of new features that came out that I obviously didn't go over in this video since they hadn't come out when I recorded it. The link will say 0.11, just click on it and you'll have some more options that I don't go over in the video.
And that will take you to the releases of this software. So now, by clicking on one of these blue links that aligns with your operating system, Linux, Mac, or Windows, it will immediately download that zip file, and you're good to go. So, I'm using a Windows device, so I'm going to download this zip right here. Once it's done, it will pop up with this. You're going to right-click here and hit Extract All, or use 7-Zip or any file unzipping software. Hopefully you know how to unzip a folder. So now once you're here, you're going to click on the exe file or whatever the equivalent is for your operating system right here. And here what you're going to do is you're going to type in your username, enter password, and make sure that these are all obviously character specific. Make sure it is exactly how your username is put, exactly how your password is put for POKEROGUE. This is a little bit sketchy, but I promise you it's perfectly safe. So I'm going to put in my username right here, and when you hit enter, when it asks you to put in a password, when you start typing, it's not going to show you that you're typing. But you are typing it, so whenever you're done, you just hit enter. So I'll do that right now. And once that's done, it's going to open a new Chrome tab of PokeRogue.net. Now, as tempting as it may be, don't touch anything. Even when it tells you to log into POKEROGUE on the official website, just don't touch anything. Right now, we're going to wait here for, like 45 seconds. So now, if you made sure to just wait and not touch anything, POKEROGUE is going to magically log in. Now, before you open the tool and before you go through with this tutorial, make sure you check in POKEROGUE your runs. So any of the current runs you have, make sure you know what slot they're in. You have 5 different save slots. Make sure you know which, like when you click load game, it'll bring up the 5 slots. Make sure you know which slot you specifically want to edit. If you have multiple runs, make sure you're editing the right run. So for me, I'm going to go for my 3rd slot, but you can do any slot from 1 through 5 as long as you have data in all 5 slots. If you only have 1 run going right now, then it's going to be 1. So I'm going to put in 3, and all of a sudden, everything's going to pop up. So now, here you go. So just like with the old version, there's a bunch of prompts you can type, and all you'll do is you'll type a number and you'll hit enter. So, let's go through the prompts one by one. So prompt number 1 is a new one, but basically once you're all done changing everything that you want to change, that's when you're going to do 1 and then enter, and then you're going to open POKEROGUE again and everything should have updated that you changed. Number 2 is going to be editing a starter. Now this one's very cool, but basically what you'll do is you'll type in 2, enter, and it's going to ask you for a Pokemon's name or ID. I think it's easier to use a Pokemon's ID. So if you check your POKEROGUE right before, you go new game and you take a look at all of your starter selections, you'll see up in the top left, there's a little number, and that'll be what you'll put in without any of the zeros that come before the number if there are any. So for example, Bulbasaur is 0001, I think off the top of my head. I mean, that would make sense. Bulbasaur is number 1. Right, so you'll just type in 1, because none of the zeros that come before the number. And then you'll hit enter. Now you can choose whether you want to make the Pokemon shiny or not. So if you type 1 and then hit enter, it'll unlock all 3 shiny variants. So we'll do that. Sure. 1. Now it's going to ask you a series of questions that will determine how many candies you have for the Pokemon. So normally what I like to do is I like to just put in some big numbers. That way I guarantee have enough candies. And now you can choose its IVs. So if you want perfect IVs for everything, just type 31, enter, 31, enter. It'll ask you 6 times. If you want to modify them, go for it. You can put whatever you want. But for this, I'm just going to go 31, enter, 31, enter, 31, enter, 31, enter, 31, enter, 31, enter. So you can unlock or edit any single starter Pokemon you want. You could just go in and type Eternatus's name or ID, and all of a sudden you'll have all 3 shiny forms for Eternatus unlocked, 300 candies for it, whatever you want, right? It's up to you. Now prompt number 3 is going to be unlocking all of the starters in your decks. It's going to completely max out your starter decks. Now I wouldn't recommend doing this, this pretty much ruins the game. Most of this ruins the game. Only really do this if you are sure that you want to do it. And try to be a little bit modest with how much you cheat, because, you know, cheating too much can ruin the game, obviously. So, if you want to unlock every single starter in the decks, you can type 3 and then enter, and then bam, it should work. Now prompt number 4 is a returning one. If you type 4 and then enter, it'll ask you how many egg vouchers you want. So once you put this, you'll see there's actually a cap for how many egg tickets you can give yourself. And this is because in a recent update for PokeRogue, they actually added a couple of flags for if you have, 999 of all of the vouchers. If you have 999 vouchers, the game is now going to flag that you have 999 vouchers. And while it doesn't seem like there's any serious reprimandation right now, it's probably going to take you off of all the online leaderboards and anything. But honestly, if you're cheating, you shouldn't be on the online leaderboards anyways, so it's kind of up to you. But I would try and adhere to these caps that it recommends, because it's just going to be easier that way and safer that way. So you're going to put in however many common vouchers you want. I'll just go 100 for this. You're going to put how many rare vouchers you want, and this is in the tiers of vouchers, so in right to left of increasing rarity. So for all these, I'll just go 100, 100, oh fine, for this I'll go 50. And for how many legendary vouchers you want, you go 10. While there's less wiggle room for how many vouchers you give yourself, you can always give yourself vouchers, use them up, and then come back to the editor, reopen the editor, and give yourself more vouchers infinitely. So there still isn't really a cap, but you gotta be a little bit more modest with it, because otherwise your account will get flagged, which I don't know what that does, but it's up to you. So, whatever. If you type number 5, you can edit your current Pokemon party. Yep, so you're going to select the party slot of the Pokemon you want to edit. So this is a good thing to keep track of before you open the tool, because, important here, before you open the tool, you should close every instance of PokeRogue you have open. So if you have PokeRogue open in a different tab, you should probably close it before you use this, just to make sure the servers don't get all confused while you're messing with your data. So try and memorize kind of which one, if you want to edit any specific one. Try and think about which one that is, because you can change it. You can change its species, you can set it to be shiny, you can set its level, you can set its luck, you can set its IVs, you could do all sorts of cool stuff. So now if you type 6 and then you hit enter, it will unlock all of your achievements, which is cool, I guess. Number 7 is very cool. If you still haven't unlocked Endless Mode yet, or Endless Spliced, typing 7 and then hitting enter will immediately unlock all of those, which is very cool. Number 8, there's not a whole lot of a reason to do this. Now, if you didn't think about which Pokemon you want to edit, you can type 9 and then enter right here, and that will show all of the Pokemon's IDs. 10 and 11, you're not going to really need to pay attention to. And finally, prompt 12 has not been fully implemented quite yet. Once we're all done, we're going to hit 1 and then hit enter. And just like that, updated your data successfully. So now I'm going to open my PokeRogue, so you'll see if I go to the Egg Gacha, I'll have the number of tickets that I specified, which is very cool. If I go New Game, you'll see there's Bulbasaur, and it'll have all natures unlocked, all different abilities unlocked. The passive won't be unlocked, but of course you have plenty of candies to do so now. So that should cover pretty much every way you would want to cheat in PokeRogue. If you have any questions about any of the process, or you want me to cover another aspect of PokeRogue to cheat about that I didn't cover in this video, leave a comment down below. Hopefully I'll answer it, and hopefully I can help you troubleshoot. And yeah. Bye!